Oh my gosh, it's happening. Hello. Let me know if you can hear me. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello, hello. Hey there. Can you hear me? Can you hear the music? You can hear me. You can hear the music. All right. Now, oh my gosh, so many highs. Hi, hi, hi. So glad you guys are here. We're going to get started in just a minute. Oh my gosh. Hello, everyone. How are you guys doing? Thank you for being here. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm going to turn off my music. Kind of before we get started, I'm going to wait for people to join over the next few minutes in the chat room. Say who you are. We already see your name. Say where you're from. Say why you are here. Like, why did you join us tonight? Please share below. I am coming from my Brooklyn apartment. I put a nice shirt on for you guys, but full disclosure, definitely wearing my Ugg boots right now. We have Avia from Pennsylvania, Danny from Memphis, Brittany from Texas, Phoebe from Australia. What is up, girl? Oh my gosh, okay, I see you, Texas. We literally have people from all over the world. Thank you so much for being here. Are you guys like super excited from tonight? Also, before we get started, if you want to type in the chat room, how did you hear about the workshop tonight? Like, why are you here? Like, where did you hear about it on Instagram? Did you hear about it through my email? Okay, we got Instagram. We got through a friend. Lauren Chandler, I love her. Oh my gosh, it's going so fast. Okay, Laura Whittle, Laura Lee Turner, Lauren Chandler, Carrie Lloyd, Delight Ministries. Oh my gosh, this is so exciting. Okay, just want you guys to know that my scarf is probably going to come off at some point because oh my gosh, Allie from San Diego, from your Instagram, Lauren Chandler. Hey, Reagan from Lubbock, what is up, girl? You heard about it from me, Michelle. That is so amazing. Oh my gosh, there's literally so many people joining the chat room. I'm going to wait one more minute and then we're going to get started. Okay, first of all, who loves Beyonce? And what is your favorite Beyonce song? And another question, what are you, Courtney Maddox. Oh, Courtney Maddox, when are you going to teach me how to do the formation dance? Okay, that is the real question. What are you guys going to be for Halloween? I really want to be a 90s R&B hip hop person all the way. Oh my gosh, Jen, love on top. I hear you. I see you. Carrie, best I never had. Yes. We have Kayla who loves TV Nooks. I love her too. Love it. Countdown. You're going to be yourself on Halloween, Nancy. I love that. Oh my gosh. You're going to be a pumpkin, Jennifer. Okay, so who is ready to start? Are you guys ready? So first things first, we had some tech issues for the first workshop today. So please bear with me as I struggle fest and pray that sweet baby Jesus takes care of all the tech issues. Okay, so I am gonna go full screen and you guys let me know, can you see the screen? Can you see the screen? Can you hear me? I kind of have some PTSD right now. Okay, you can see the screen. You can hear me. It's all good. Bless it. Thank you, Jesus. All right. Welcome to the 3 breakthroughs that will transform your season of singleness. My vision is to equip you to experience breakthrough, renewed hope, and fresh vision in your current season. So before we get started, first things first, let's just say a prayer, okay? I mean, I just feel like that's what we need to do. So I'm just going to say a quick prayer for us. God, thank you for your goodness. Thank you for your presence in our lives. God, thank you that you are a near God. You're not far from us. You created the universe and the galaxies, and you also care to intimately know your daughters. God, you're moving. God, you are breathing life over humanity. God, you say that you are making all things new. And so, God, we put our hope in you. And God, I ask that you would bring your presence on every single woman that is here tonight, no matter where she is, no matter what she is going through. God, would you let each woman here know that you love her? You love her. You see her. You remember her. You are not far from her. You have a plan for her life, God. So God, just first and foremost, we just honor you and we welcome your presence, God. So over the next hour, God, just pray that you would connect us together, even though we are connecting from all over the world. And God, may the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be pleasing to you, Jesus. I love you, God. Help us to love you more. And it's in your name we pray. All right. So for the next hour, we are going to be going through like over 100 slides. So does everyone have their PDF workbook? If not, it might be a little too late now. Grab your journal. But I'm going to ask you to be totally present with us here. So if you want to do an IG post, I would encourage you to go ahead and take your phone out right now, do a little screenshot, and then like put your phone away, and then you're gonna post it later. You're gonna tag the refined woman, and you and I are gonna DM about everything that you learned in this workshop. Okay? 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 Okay. All right. Over the next hour, I am going to show you how you can make the ultimate shift from feeling discouraged, frustrated, and stuck in the desert wasteland of dating to showing up in this season in wholeness with renewed hope and fresh vision so that you'll be ready to get out there and get equipped to actively and intentionally date. It's my heart that by the end of our time together, you're going to be energized, excited, and ready to be out there and ready to embrace this season that God has you in, because it is no mistake that you are in the city you're in the year that you're in the year that you were born, you're in the job that you are in, you're in the space and sphere of influence that you're in for such a time as this. God does not make mistakes. All right. So, oh my gosh, this is super exciting. This is like the first time I'm telling people publicly about this. If you stay with me until the very end, I'm going to teach you, or I'm going to show you how you can get your hands on this brand new resource guide that I made called My Dirty Little Secret, a biblical conversation on masturbation. Because you know what? It's the topic that no one wants to talk about publicly, but let me tell you, literally every single one of y'all be DMing me about this on a daily basis. So I've spent the last few years, this isn't just something that I created on a whim. I spent the last few years researching, talking to pastors, looking at the Bible, reading commentaries to find out, is masturbation a sin? What does the Bible actually say about it? Is it dirty or gross when I get turned on? And how do I navigate this season and this desire when I'm single and there's no one in sight? So who's with me? Who wants to learn about masturbation? Everyone, even if you're not saying yes, I know you want to learn about it. All right, so before we move any further, now is the time where I am going to invite you, take your last screenshot, take your last phone grab, whatever you want to call it, and go ahead and turn off your phone, shut off all of those distractions, girls, because let me tell you, you are going to get out of this what you put into it. So the more present you can be, turn off your cell phones, turn off all the other tabs. I know, like, who does this like Zendaya comment resonate with? Like, it resonates with me so much. Like, turn the 17 browsers open, be committed to showing up fully in this, because I believe that God has a revelation for you. All right. So turn it off. Moving forward, I want you to know that you are in the right place if you resonate with any of these experiences. Number one, you're in the right place if you feel stuck. Do you feel stuck in your singleness? Like, you want to be in a relationship, but it feels totally out of your hands. It's like you're stranded in the Sahara desert of dating. Singleness isn't what you wanted and you didn't ask to be here. Or maybe you're like, Kat, I'm legit stuck in the friend zone. Or maybe you're like, I'm stuck swiping on apps that either don't match me with anyone I'd ever consider dating, or I'm only meeting guys that are looking for casual. How many of you feel stuck? Maybe you're here because you feel left behind. Why does it seem like God is answering your friend's prayers for a husband, but you seem to be praying into the void. It's like everyone else is going on to that next stage and you're just the best friend, always showing up. You look around you and less of your friends and community are single, and the amount of single guys seem to be dwindling. Do you feel lonely and forgotten? Maybe you feel frustrated. You're in the right place if you are frustrated. Like, where are all the single, available, godly men anyways? If we're talking numbers, the odds do not seem to be in your favor. And let me ask you this. Why aren't guys in the church asking girls out? Like, what is up with that? There seems to be this lack of pursuit, and you feel like you want to explode. Maybe you feel discouraged. This is not how you thought your life would turn out. You struggle with even knowing how to put yourself out there and what to do with your desire. It all feels so disheartening, and you're so tired of being in this place, which finally may lead you to feeling hopeless. Now, you may not say it with your mouth, but on the inside, if you're being really honest, you think, based off what the circumstances of your past have shown you, based off the lack of single, godly, legit man in your life, based off maybe even your own insecurities, whether that's body image or feeling like you're too much or not enough. You doubt if you're worthy of the type of relationship you truly long for. So if you don't feel completely hopeless, you at least feel like your hope is small, dim, and barely surviving. So I want to know which one is you. Type it in the chat below. Maybe you're here because number one, you feel stuck. Maybe number five, you feel hopeless. Maybe you're like Kat. Maybe you're like Lacey. All of the above. Avery, all of the above. Brittany, all of the above. All of the above. Friend, this is super helpful because A, it helps me navigate what stories to share for our conversation today. And look around you. Literally, you are not alone. Francesca feels stuck, frustrated, and discouraged, and feels left behind. So friend, I know that social media can make everything look like it's perfect, but I just want you to know, as much as I am in love with Beyonce, and look at her incredible white teeth and her perfect skin and her pink rollers, that is not how I woke up. When it comes to dating, it was actually a little bit more like this. Like, this is a real picture of me that is literally snot dripping down my nose. That is how dating and my singleness felt for most of my life. My singleness and dating journey from my teens through most of my 20s has been hashtag struggle fest. Most of that time, I was completely shut down to my sexuality and desire. I don't know if you relate to this, because I was terrified of, quote unquote, making guys stumble. And I felt so much shame from damaging messages I received from purity culture. In addition to that, my dating life was totally non-existent. I even went through a period of time in my 20s where I didn't date for almost 7 years. And then I went through a period where I attracted emotionally unavailable men like a moth to the flame. On top of that, I was insecure and felt completely unworthy of a type of a relationship I truly longed for. I always felt like, why would a guy like that want a girl like me? I've been a bridesmaid 17 times, so basically I'm a professional best friend. I have had dates abruptly end when guys find out I'm waiting until marriage to have sex, even Christian guys. I've had guys tell me they wouldn't want to marry a girl like me because I was too ambitious. I've been ghosted, stood up, heartbroken, friend zoned, and literally everything in between. So friends, when I say I know what it's like to walk through this season and in your shoes, I freaking know what it's like. I see you. I see you, friend. For the most part, during those years, the only books, sermons, podcasts, and resources I could find were from men and women who got married really young. And even though so much of what they were saying seemed true, it honestly felt irrelevant and unhelpful because they just simply could not relate in the slightest to my experience. It felt like there was no one out there my age, single, seeking God and living out singleness and dating with honor. Yet, through the years, seeking God, doing a lot of self-work, looking into the Word, getting therapy, coaching, wise counsel. God has ignited my heart with hope and vision and purpose in my singleness, and actually equipped me practically to get out there and not only meet the type of godly guy I want to ultimately be with, but also date them and walk out my singleness with purpose. I now realize this. I say this humbly, ladies, I can be the resource for you that I didn't have all of those years ago. One of my old pastors used to say, your heartache is someone else's hope. If you make it through, someone else is going to make it through. Let my answered prayers be your prophecy to God. Like, if God can give me breakthrough, it can happen for you. I am here today by God's grace and can guide you from a space of empathy and compassion because I've been in your shoes. In some ways, I still am. Ladies, I'm single. I ain't got no ring. I can relate. I'm here tonight to speak truth and hope and life and encouragement over you from a place of so many shared experiences. So let me ask you this. Pause for a second. Can you imagine what it would feel like if you had the relationship you really longed for? What if you walked away tonight with hope and vision? What if you allowed yourself to be expectant for God to do something big in your singleness, to do something big? I'm talking breakthrough in your dating life. What if you could go from that desert wasteland of not dating for all those years or never having even been on a date to being in a relationship with a godly man? What if there were actually single, available, godly men for you to date? What if you no longer felt stuck? How would that feel for you? Michelle says it feels like a relief. Susanna says 27 years old, never been in a relationship, only been on one date. Alicia would give thanks. What would it feel like for you? Can you imagine it? What if it was possible? Now, this is an interactive class, so even though I can't see you or hear you, type away, shout me down with some amens or a heck yes. Tell me how you are feeling. I want to be in this with you, because you know what? Breakthrough is your freaking destiny, and breakthrough starts by bringing the darkness to light. You are not the only one feeling what you're feeling. So let's bring the dark to light right now. Like, look what you guys are doing in this chat room. Breakthrough is already happening. The lie that you are alone and that you are forgotten and unseen is literally being dismantled right in front of our eyes, as hundreds of women all over the world are sharing that they are in the same place as you. I love how Bobby Houston says it. She says, there is a God in heaven and a company of others on this earth who believe in you, who see you, who want to fight with you. All right. So here's the one thing that I really want you to understand. Like, if there's nothing you get from the rest of this hour, I want you to get this. The God of all creation, who breathed humanity into existence, who breathed the galaxies, mountain ranges, freckles, your toes into existence. He has not forgotten you. I know how hard it is to be a single Christian woman in today's culture. And I know what it's like to cry at night and ask God for it the gazillionth time to bring you the man of God your heart so longs for, only to be disappointed over and over again. But friend, take heart. He's at work behind the scenes. Every no is a step closer to his yes. You are allowed to hope. It is your right, and you have the authority to do so. Psalm 34:5 says, those who go to him are radiant. Their faces are never covered with shame. You're never covered with shame when you go to the Father. So keep going to him. It's not desperate or less spiritual or controlling to be honest with God, yourself, and others that you want a relationship. Finally, keep showing up actively in this season. And when you do, you'll discover something powerful. God moves through your movement. That's a word for someone here tonight. Acts 17:28. I'll repeat that. Acts 17:28 says, for in him we live and move and have our being. Now, if you can get this one thing, then I feel like I will have done my job. Like, that's it. That's all I got for you. Workshop over. But really, if you actually received and understood and declared this over your life, that the God of the heavens sees you, hasn't forgotten you, and is working on your behalf, and you have the authority to move actively in this season, how would it change things? How much of a difference would it make in your life? All right, as I promised, I'm now going to walk you through the 3 breakthroughs that will transform your season of singleness. Are you ready for breakthrough number 1? Breakthrough number 1 is moving from hopeless to hopeful. All right, so maybe you wouldn't say with your mouth you're hopeless, but deep in the recesses of your heart, you're barely hanging on. Is this you? Now, why is it so hard for us to hope? I think that there's 3 main reasons for this: our past, our current circumstances, and fear of disappointment. So let's dive into that. Our past. So we're afraid to hope because we've hoped before in the past and it didn't work out for us. Or maybe in the past you put yourself out there and you got hurt. Maybe you've been rejected or broken up with. Those are very real experiences. But mindset shift, that is a tongue twister. Your past only has as much power over your life as you choose to give it. Just because it happened before doesn't mean it'll happen again. And even if it does, guess what? Jesus says, Romans 8:28, that he works all things together for the good of those who love him. And 2 Corinthians 5:17 says, Jesus came that you might have new life. Now be writing down these verses, ladies, because you know what? God's word is the truth and promises and prophecy that we get to reflect back to him. We get to say, God, I've been hurt in the past, but you say you work all things together for the good of those who love you, and I love you. So work this together for your good. God, renew my past because you said you're going to give me new life. You do not have to let your past define your present and keep you from your future any longer. Literally, the choice is yours. Maybe it's your current circumstances that are keeping you from hoping. Maybe you live in a small town. Anyone here? Maybe the options you do have don't look good. Maybe you live in a city like New York City, where the guy-to-girl ratio is literally like 10 women to every 1 guy. Maybe you go online and it seems like everyone you matched with just wants to sleep around. Or maybe you go to church and literally it feels like being on an episode of The Bachelor. 25 women fighting over the attention of 1 guy who, if we're really honest, is kind of like, meh. Or maybe your current circumstances are saying, girl, the only place you belong is in the friend zone. Mindset shift, friend. God is bigger than your circumstances. The invitation of faith from Hebrews 11:1 is to lean into the unseen. So often, ladies, all we do is look at our circumstances. And you can look at me in the video, like our reality is right here, okay? Our circumstances are teaching you a narrative, but faith is choosing to believe in the unseen. And the unseen is called hope. So your circumstances might be telling you a story, but leaning into faith, this is when our faith gets into action, is choosing to hope beyond our present circumstances. And Isaiah 43:19 says, look, behold, I am doing a new thing. I am making streams in the desert. This is actually a really incredible position to be in, because when we are in a desert, we can't make water for ourselves. So we have to see God do something. The impossible is easy for God. How many of you want to see God do something bold in your love life that only he can get the credit for? I sure do. I don't know about you, but I do. All right, maybe you're afraid of being disappointed. So because of that, you're not hoping. For me, growing up, my parents went through multiple divorces. There was affairs, addictions. While over the years, there was some redemption. And honestly, I got to a point where my heart had been so battered and bruised that holding on to hope, y'all, it just felt too risky. My circumstances and my past disappointment fed me a story that no one else was going to care for my heart. So I better fight for myself. I better self-preserve because no one else is going to take care of me. I did this in a lot of areas of my life, but in the area of love, it looked like this. One, me settling for friendship with a guy when what I really wanted was to date him, because you know what? Something felt better than nothing. And I didn't even know if I was worth that something. So better settle for scraps, right? It meant me taking myself out of the game before even giving it a shot. I meet a guy I liked and then avoid him and just assume he'd never like me. Might as well shut it down before I get disappointed again. I also, this is a word for a lot of you ladies here, I masked my hopelessness and confidence. I was a strong and independent girl. I got a full ride to college. I moved cross country. I started my own business, not one, but two. I was fierce. But deep down, even though I tried to protect myself from pain, I still felt it. Allowing myself to hope felt incredibly risky, and I was tired of being hurt. Do you resonate with this? Maybe you're tired of being disappointed. You're tired of the no's, the getting your hopes up to be let down once again. It's exhausting and disheartening. And if you're honest, you're over it. So I have real talk for you. You're gonna get hurt in any and every relationship we enter into, whether friendship, work, romance, we're gonna be disappointed over and over and over and over again. Why? Because we're human beings and we are imperfect, we are broken, we are messy, we have baggage. And when our brokenness and messiness collide with another human being, there's gonna be pain. Because you know what? Self-preservation tries to convince us if we don't hope, we won't be disappointed. But actually, if we don't hope, we just shut ourselves off to love. You can't listen to this, you can't numb one part without numbing the whole. C.S. Lewis says to be open to love, we have to be open to pain. To love at all, he says, is to be vulnerable. Love anything and your heart will be wrung and possibly broken. If you want to make sure of keeping it intact, you must give it to no one, not even an animal. Wrap it carefully round with hobbies and little luxuries. Avoid all entanglements. Lock it up safe in the casket or coffin of your selfishness. But in that casket, safe, dark, motionless, airless, it will change. It will not be broken. It will become unbreakable, impenetrable, irredeemable. To love at all is to be vulnerable. If there's anything I've learned, it's then. Even when, not if, even when you hope and are disappointed, you will be okay. And why is that? Because Psalm 139 says you have the permission to hope. Psalm 139 says before a word is even on your lips, God knows them all together. Like that's how intimately acquainted and familiar and attentive he is to your heart. He already knows what you're hoping for, even if you do not have the courage to speak that to him. So if he already knows it, you might as well bring it to him and claim this promise over your life from Romans 5:5. Hope does not put us to shame. You see, when we have the courage to hope, it shifts atmospheres and outcomes. There's something crazy about God. Like he actually listens to us. And 1 Samuel 1, God says he remembers Hannah and acts on her behalf. Mark Batterson says it this way: bold prayers honor God, and God honors bold prayers. God isn't offended by your biggest dreams or boldest prayers. He is offended by anything less. If your prayers aren't impossible to you, they are insulting to God. Prayers are prophecies. They are the best predictors of your spiritual future. Who you become is determined by how you pray. Ultimately, the transcript of your prayers becomes the script of your life. The greatest tragedy in life is the prayers that go unanswered because they go unasked. God does not answer vague prayers. The more specific your prayers are, the more glory God receives. Most of us don't get what we want because we quit praying. In other words, we quit hoping. We give up too easily. We give up too soon. We quit praying right before the miracle happens. If you don't take the risk, you forfeit the miracle. So, what if you have the audacity to take God at his word? What if even in the midst of unlikely circumstances and with the risk of being hurt, you had the courage to hope? What if you boldly and specifically went to God with your prayers? You know what I would ask for? His man and his way and his time. And you know what? I pray that time is now, today, tomorrow morning. And guess what? Even if I don't get what I want, God is still good. Friend, you are so safe to hope. What would you ask for? What would you ask for if you let yourself hope? Share it in the chat room now. I really want to see you. My encouragement to you is to boldly allow yourself to hope. All right. Who's ready for breakthrough number 2? Okay, y'all. I am going to be speaking some hard truth to you right now. Are you up for it? Like, are you up for me to lovingly like kind of call you out? I hope so. Okay. So we're going to breakthrough number 2, blame shifting to taking ownership. Now, raise your hand in the chat if you've ever felt or said any of these things. 1, there are no godly single men in my community. 2, all the good guys are already taken. Like, seriously, are they all married already? Or it feels like at some level, no matter what, whether in looks or character or faith, I'm just going to have to compromise because there's not a God out there that loves Jesus, that will wait until marriage for sex, and that I'm actually attracted to. Maybe you've thought guys aren't at your level of spirituality. You don't think they can lead you. Maybe you've tried online dating and it doesn't work in your opinion. Or maybe you're like, Kat, none of that even matters. Even if there were guys there, they don't even notice me. I am literally invisible. Or maybe every guy runs once you tell them you don't want to have sex with them. Okay, everyone's literally raising their hand. I love it. So if you understand this one thing I'm about to teach you, it will, I truly believe, radically transform your season of singleness. In all of these statements, before I ask this question, do you guys appreciate my gift ministry? Because I worked really hard on getting good gifts in this presentation for you. Or is it GIFs? Okay. In all of these statements and narratives, there's a common denominator. Can you guess what it is? What is the common denominator in all of these scenarios? Courtney Maddox says me. Maddie says me. Jordan says me. Serena says me. You're right. It's you. You are in every single one of these scenarios. Here's the deal. You can't fix or change or save anyone. The only person you can take responsibility for is yourself. But man, isn't it so much easier and more convenient to place all the blame on everyone else, on what the guys aren't doing, on who they aren't, than taking ownership of how we're showing up? Listen, I don't want to diminish that dating in today's culture can be difficult. I don't want to dismiss that Christian dating can also be hard, and that you may be in difficult scenarios, whether in a small town or crazy towns like New York City, where either way, the statistics aren't in your favor. Listen, I get the frustration, but has your frustration led to bitterness? Sitting there with your arms across your chest, complaining constantly with your girlfriends that there are no good guys and that they're all taken and that they only want one thing and that they can't lead you spiritually is completely dishonoring to the men in your community and our culture at large. Ladies, we are called to be countercultural. Who knows that our words matter? Like, literally, God spoke life into existence. Our words matter. What we speak has the power to shift atmospheres. Are you speaking life over the men in our culture and in your world? Or are you speaking death, curse, condemnation? Are you coming from humility? Or are you coming from a place of being better than? And let me ask you this. If the tables were turned and all the guys in your community got together and were constantly talking about how there's no good girls out there, how they're all already taken, they're not pretty enough, they're not skinny enough, they're not Christian enough to be with them, how would that feel? I've experienced that before. I've literally been in a conversation with a single guy that I liked, with him complaining to me that there are no single girls. And I was literally like, hello, dude, like, I am single. And you know what it felt? It felt extremely painful. It felt dismissive. It felt like I was invisible. And you know what? It honestly really demotivated me from even wanting to go out with Christian guys like that. Do you know that the very guys you're complaining about gossiping about, frustrated towards our sons to the creator of the universe, and he just loves them so much. Like, as much as he loves you, he loves them too. So what if instead of speaking reality, what we see, we prophesied over our lives? What if we breathed life and possibility into our community? What if instead of saying, there's no guys in my community, you asked God to give you eyes to see the men that are there serving behind the scenes? Because you know what? Maybe he's hidden. And do you believe that God is bigger than your circumstances? Do you believe that God is able to do what Ephesians 3:20 says, abundantly more than you could ask or hope for? Ladies, this is where our faith practically gets put into action, because we say we believe these things about God, but then our lives and our actions reveal a different story. That's okay. We all have places in our lives where we do this, but God wants to work on our hearts and close the chasm between what we say we believe and how we actually live out our lives. Listen, it's a lifelong process, but first we have to take ownership for how we're showing up. So what if instead of expecting that online dating isn't going to work out, you approached it with expectancy? What if instead of marching around like, oh, I'm so holy and there aren't guys out there serious about their faith? What if you repented of your pride and got on your knees and started praying for humility? And do you know that Adam in Genesis 1 didn't see Eve until God awakened him to her? What if we got on our knees and begged God to rise up and awaken a generation of men? What if we prayed for mentors for the guys in our lives, and for their integrity and character to be developed, and for protection from temptation and spiritual awakening and a true hunger for God? Ladies, my challenge to every single one of us, myself included, is to be a woman of honor. Instead of blame shifting, let's take responsibility for how we're showing up. So let me ask you this, and I better see every single one of you guys who are live on this chat, in this chat room right now. How are you showing up? Where are you shifting the blame? What can you be doing in this season of singleness to breathe life over the men in our culture? And I guarantee you, you're not perfect. Instead of pointing fingers at how the single men aren't dating well, how can you commit to your growth and your wholeness and take responsibility for maybe your shortcomings as you approach dating? I'm just going to let you sit with that for a second, because this is a big one, guys. This is a big one. We get to show up as women of honor. I'm telling you, men are going to start coming out of the woodwork if we start speaking life over them, and if we come from a posture of humility. All right, is any of this resonating with you? I cannot believe we're already on to breakthrough number 3. Are you ready to talk about our final breakthrough? Oh my goodness, I just love every single thing that y'all are saying in there. All right, breakthrough number 3, passive to active. All right. Oh, Jen, thank you for being honest. She says she projects insecurity. I so get that. Oh, so good. All right. Passive to active. All right, you ready to be interactive again? Raise your hand if you have ever had an unpaid internship. Raise your hand if you've ever taken a college course. Like, you've paid to take a college course. Now raise your hand if, I see you ladies, see you, Jessica, Hannah, Beth. Raise your hand if you've ever hired a business coach. You've taken it a step further in your career. Now, let me know if you've ever gone to therapy or counseling, or like a soul care session, or like a prayer session for inner healing, anything like that. Now, who here has ever paid to go to a workout class or have a gym membership because you have fitness goals? Right before this class, I went to Equinox. I am a member of the dreaded Equinox, and went to a running class. Why? Because like, my physical fitness matters to me, so I pay good money to go there. Or who here has taken any sort of Bible study, or even paid to attend like a women's conference or a workshop or a weekend retreat to invest into your spiritual growth? Or maybe, since everyone here is saying yes, 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 is there anyone who hasn't done any of these things? So, have you ever noticed how intentional we are about the things that matter to us? Like, we are literally so intentional about every single area of our life. Like, literally, we'll spend tens of thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars on education. We'll move cross country for internships and careers. We'll even get up early before the sun is even out to spend time with Jesus. Why? Because that relationship matters. And we'll avoid eating that cake and we'll go to the gym if we have a fitness goal. We are intentional about every single thing in our lives except love, except dating. Now, how does that make sense? Because how many of you would say that love, marriage to a godly man, being a wife, and perhaps even a mother is something that matters to you? Like, maybe even for some of you outside of your relationship with God, like this might be either like 2 or 3 or in the top 5 on your list of like things that you want and long for in your life. Okay, Worry says it matters so much. Maddie says yes. Yes, definitely top 3 for some of you. That's you, Lacey. All right. So why then, when it comes to love, do we say weird things in the Christian world like, oh, well, if it's meant to be, it'll happen? Or weird woo-woo stuff like, it'll happen when I'm content. Like, honestly, y'all, nowhere in the Bible does it say God will give you a husband when you're content. It just doesn't say that. And we even say things like, it'll happen when I achieve X. Now, tell me in the chat, what's your X? Is it like when I get out of debt, when I get the job, when I lose the weight? As if like love with God is some sort of, if I do this, he'll respond to me like that, like a puppet game. There's a lot of you saying when you lose the weight, when you graduate college, when you fully love yourself, when you get your shit together. Thank you, Michelle, for being honest. Do you know how many women I talk to every single day from all over the world who are heartbroken about not being in a relationship? But then after asking a few questions, I find out they're literally doing nothing to be intentional in this area of their life. Or maybe they're like, well, I tried online dating once or twice. And online dating, by the way, is more than just downloading the app and checking it once a month, okay? So here's the deal. I think there's 3 reasons why we're passive, and we're going to unpack those right now. I think fear is the biggest one. Fear of not being enough. And ladies, this one is so tender because I struggled with this for most of my life. I felt like too much and not enough at the same time, which is the perfect little like gridlock that the enemy gets us in. Like, what a perfect thing to feel too much and not enough all at the same time. Like, maybe you've put yourself in the back seat or allowed yourself subconsciously to be in the friend zone because it's safer there. That way he doesn't have the chance to turn you down. You already feel insecure about not like having your weight goals or not being graduated from school or not being where you want to be financially. So you don't even want to have that confirmed again because you already feel not enough. So you're just going to take yourself out of the situation. Maybe you're afraid of failure. Maybe you've blown it in the past. And I mean, really blown it. Dated bad guys, messed up physically, and now you don't trust yourself to date. So you've taken yourself out of the game. I'm going to boldly and vulnerably share with you because that's how much I believe in your wholeness, that after I broke up with a guy that was definitely not God's best for me, that I had gone further with physically than any other guy, which at the time I didn't even feel sorry for, I went straight to a bar with friends, took a bunch of shots, smoked weed, got high. And y'all, this was years into me being a Christian. It wasn't like I was like not a Christian or a new Christian. It was like I was a seasoned Christian. I was a mess. I blew it. But here's the reality. Just because I've blown it before, just because you've blown it before, doesn't mean you have to do it that way again. Every opportunity is an opportunity to grow if we choose it to be. Maybe you're afraid of rejection. And the thing I want to tell you, if you feel, who here feels rejected? Like I literally got rejected from a guy this weekend, and my friend finally told me, who was really good friends with this guy, she's like, girl, you just need to move on. Like he is not into you. And you know what? I felt so rejected. But you know what? I cling to this truth. His rejection is God's protection in your life. If God would have given me what I wanted when I wanted it in my 20s, I would have married multiple men who I was working out all my daddy issues on and either be in an extremely heartbreaking, lonely, and painful marriage or divorced by now. How many of you are grateful in hindsight for something that didn't turn out the way you originally wanted it to? I know I am. All right, number 2, why we don't put ourselves out there, why we're passive. We feel like it's less godly. Maybe, okay, stick with me here. Maybe you're passive in your singleness because you think if it's God's will, he does all the work. You don't want to quote unquote manipulate the situation or play God. Maybe you even feel like it's less spiritual to admit you want to be in a relationship. Like it makes you less of a Christian if you're not like, only 100% desiring God. The problem with that is Genesis 1 and 2, where it says so clearly in scripture, it's not good for man to be alone. So actually the most normal desire in the universe is to long to be in a marriage relationship. So because you feel wherever this narrative came from, less godly, you hide out. So friends, here's the mindset shift here. You have the permission to not only acknowledge to yourself, God, and others that you want to be in a relationship, but you can actively put yourself out there and put yourself in a position and in spaces where you can meet quality godly men. This is not manipulative or desperate or playing God. This is being intentional. Who here has read the book of Ruth? Like, literally, Ruth lays at the feet of Boaz, and in Hebrew proposal language says that she wants to marry him. So if that's in the Bible and like she literally, her lineage is Jesus, like how can we say that it is not godly to put ourselves out there with men? I think we're hiding because we're afraid. All right. Whoops. Sorry. I think I had one more thing to say there. I got in a little tangent. Okay. So one thing that I need to tell you here about this. Okay. Nope. Okay. We're moving on. Sorry. Number 3, we want to be pursued, right? Like who here wants to be pursued? Like we're passive because we want a guy to make movement towards us. And you know what? You should be pursued by all means. But I think we've gotten confused as to what that really means. In Genesis 1, God literally places Eve in front of Adam. So like I just said, like Adam didn't see Eve until God awakened Adam to her. But if he was awake and she wasn't there, he wasn't going to be able to see her. Ladies, it's okay to get into proximity around the type of guys that we want to be with. It's not manipulative. It's being intentional. And again, back to Ruth and Boaz. Ruth basically proposes to Boaz. In other words, Boaz didn't rescue her from her prayer closet. He didn't do all the work in pursuing him. She had to let him know very clearly and specifically she was interested. She had to give him the green light before he made movement towards her. So how does that fit into your box of wanting the guy to do all the work? Now, I'm not telling you to go propose to a guy. But I'm telling you, like Michelle says, you can drop the hanky. You can put yourself out there. You can let it be known that you are interested. You can even go up to a guy and say, you know what? I really like spending time with you. Would you want to go grab coffee sometimes? You can still do that and be pursued. So who here is wondering, why is no one asking me out? And why aren't guys pursuing you? But I want you to pause and ask yourself, are you putting yourself in situations where you're not only around guys, but talking to them? Do you look the guy in the eye that you're interested in? Do you smile at him? Do you start conversations with him? Do you follow up conversations with him? Or are you going to church with your girlfriends and sitting on one side of the room, on the other side of the room from him, never talking to him, and then bummed and frustrated that he's not coming up to you? Or maybe you're going to parties and only staying in your circle of girlfriends. Guys, we have got to get out of our little like girlfriend huddle. Do you know how intimidating it is to come up to a group of girls that are like arms crossed at a party? It is so intimidating, y'all. So here's the deal. Allowing yourself to be pursued does not mean you sit in your prayer closet until a guy comes knocking at your door. He's not going to know where to find you if you do that. We have to get out there, meeting new people and being active in our waiting. Ladies, it's time to be intentional because we create space in our lives for the things that matter to us. People always say, like, you want to know what someone's priorities are, see how they spend their money. But I say how people spend their time and money reflect their priorities. So I want you to pause and think. Really think about this. Does your day-to-day life reflect your desire to be in a relationship? Do you create time and space in your life for dating? Like, even if you were to meet a guy tomorrow, do you have margin in your life for that? Now, imagine if you decided to be just as intentional about your dating life as you are about the rest of your life. Do you think it's possible that that could make an impact on your dating life? I want to hear from you in that chat room. Of course it's okay not to be ready to date. But I want to know from you, if you decided to be as intentional about your dating life as you are, say, about your faith, your career, health, and other relationships, do you think that can make an impact on your life? All right, recap. The 3 biggest breakthroughs that will transform your season of singleness. Y'all, we just covered a lot of ground. I want you to share in the comment section below which of the breakthroughs resonated most with you. Maybe it was breakthrough number 1, learning, listen, I have the permission to hope. God does not answer vague prayers, and I'm just self-preserving if I'm not letting myself hope. Romans 5:5 says I'm allowed to hope. Or maybe it's breakthrough number 2, moving from blaming guys for all the things that they're not doing instead of taking ownership for your own imperfections and your own growth. Maybe it's breakthrough number 3. Maybe you're like, well, I'm being super passive and I need to know how to be active and be intentional and create space in my life to be intentional. Maybe it's all 3. Yes, Heather says all. Arlene says be intentional. Reagan says 1 and 3. Katie 2 and 3. 1 and 2. Ownership. Praying boldly and specifically. Oh, I love it. All right, so we're closing in on the end, and I just want to thank you. Before we have more ground to cover, so don't you worry. But you showed up here for a reason. I know you are super busy, and I do not take your time lightly. But you came for a reason. You've either felt discouraged, maybe unequipped. Some of you in here are saying this is all great, but how do I do this stuff? I want to be intentional. I want to take ownership. I want to hope, but what does that even look like practically? Maybe you just want more. I think that this is honestly all of you, because if you didn't want more in this season of your life, you would not be here. So to all of you, I want to say it's time to shake things up. It's time to try something new. Have you ever heard the definition of the insanity cycle? It is doing the same thing over and over and over and over again, expecting different results. So I think some of us are like, gosh, why haven't I experienced the breakthrough? It's why haven't I lost the 10 pounds? Well, you're still eating 3 pints of ice cream every day. You can't just wishful think it. Remember Acts 17:28, in him we live and move and have our being. Ladies, we can't do the same thing over and over and over and over again, expect different results. It's time to try something new. So let me ask you, would you like me to teach you how to let go of fear and boldly hold on to hope, and how to get out of the insanity cycle, and how to take responsibility and be intentional in your dating life? Yes. Oh my gosh, this makes me so happy. So, oh my gosh. Yes. Okay. Yes, yes, yes. Who would say no, Jen? All right, so I would like to officially invite you into my Activate Your Dating Life program. The Activate Your Dating Life program is an implementation program that not only shows you exactly how to step into singleness and dating with vision, clarity, confidence, and freedom, but also how to put yourself out there and actually meet quality, single, godly men while being surrounded by a group of powerful women cheering you on. So let me tell you what you're going to get by the end of this course. I know y'all are already having so many questions, but let me just run with you real quick. Here's what you're going to have by the end of this course. You will have taken responsibility in your singleness with clarity and vision, identified the biggest obstacles and fears holding you back, discovered how to know you're truly worthy of what you want. Who here feels like you don't have the relationship because you don't feel like you're worthy of it? It's time to get past that. God has freedom for you. I will give you practical tools to empower you how to flirt. Who feels awkward flirting? Hello, I'm going to teach you how to do it. And be engaged talking with men in real life and online. I'm going to teach you how to leave the friend zone once and for all, how to identify when you get there and open yourself up to real relationships. I will give you the knowledge to ask for a setup. Who here is like, I ask my friends for a setup, but they never follow up? Like, I'm going to show you how to have conversations with your friends, how to get a setup, and then you're going to learn how to online date well. Everything from like what profile pictures to use, how to know if he's only looking for casual. I'm going to give you the tools to actively and proactively date. So before we get into more of this, I'm just going to run you through like a little bit more what are in these modules. There are 4 modules, 4 lessons in each module. Module number 1, how to take responsibility and get clear. Lesson number 1, what is it that you really want? In order to walk out the present with clarity and purpose, intention and hope and vision, we have to know where you're headed. So what is it that you really want? It's time to get really clear about that. And next, now that you know what you want, how can you for certain know that you are worthy of what you want? This lesson right here is going to transform so many women's lives. Number 3 is all about how to take responsibility in your singleness. So this one is directly correlated with this workshop tonight. I'm teaching you how to take responsibility. And then lesson number 4, how to unpack your calling and purpose in your current season. Like, your calling and purpose is today, like not one ethereal day when you may or may not get a wedding ring. So what is it to walk out this season with vision, knowing what your calling is? All right, module 2, I'm going to teach you how to put yourself out there. So first things first, how to connect to your feminine heart and your femininity. Like, God has created you as a woman, and that is beautiful. And his heart for us is to receive pursuit. But how many of you feel like, oh my gosh, I've been single for so long, like I don't even know what it is to like be a woman in a dating relationship? I'm going to show you what that's like. And flirting 101, I'm showing you flirting techniques, conversation starters, like body language cues, so that you don't feel awkward putting yourself out there. And then I will teach you how to talk to men, like conversation starters, tips to chatting with guys and initiating conversations in public places. And then finally, I'm going to give you the tools to really get out there and practice. And then after you know all of that, it's time to actually meet men in real life. So first things that we have to do in this module is number 1, identify what are the relationships in your life where you're stuck in the friend zone or where you're settling for less when you really want more. I want you once and for all to get out of that friend zone, and I'm going to teach you how. Lesson number 2 is how to get a setup, not just like, well, maybe this person will set me up, but I'm going to ask this person. I'm going to be proactive. I'm going to put myself out there. I'm going to get my girlfriends together. We're going to set each other up. And then number 3, how to meet men in real life. Like, whether you are at a cafe, whether you are at work, whether you are at church, in a small group, at a restaurant, I'm going to teach you how to meet men in real life. Because really, if we put our phones down and take our headphones out long enough, there really are guys all around us. And lesson number 4, online dating 101. I'm going to teach you like all the things about online dating, my favorite apps, like what pictures to post, what pictures not to post, what conversation starters should be, when you should meet him on in real time, should you be giving him your phone number or not, all those things. And then finally, module 4 is the final module, how to date. Lesson 1 is like which guys to say yes to and which guys to say no to. How do you know that he's ready or not? Lesson number 2, why guys aren't asking girls out in the church. Now, how many of you guys experience this? And how many of you guys would like to see this shifted? All right, that's what lesson 2 is all about. Lesson number 3 is dating 101. So we're talking about everything from like what to do on a first date, what outfits you should or shouldn't wear, when do you tell him that you're going to be waiting until marriage to have sex or not, like when do you bring that up in conversation. I'm teaching you all of the things. Number 4 is finally how to create an action plan to move forward. All right. So I know you're already wondering, okay, this is all great, but like, Kat, go ahead, give us the price. Like, how many of you guys are like scared about how much this is going to cost? Like, this is a new course, all the videos and PDFs and coaching calls, like hands down, when I asked my peers in the industry how much I should charge for this, they said at the very least $500. And I was like, you know what? That's great, but I know my community well. And I know that even though you're super serious about your wholeness, that price point is just not going to work for you. Like, who here is that price point going to work for? So what I did was I cut the price in half. So I have cart open, I have doors open for Activate Your Dating Life program for 1 week only. I open this program 2 times a year. I'm not opening it again until next year. So for $247, you can join me and women from all over the world in activating your dating life. I want this program to be affordable to you. I want you to be able to enroll today and get started, jump in and start taking ownership over your dating life. That's why I decided to like cut the price in half from what everyone told me I should be charging for. So if you're ready to get started, you've got some options. You can do 3 payments of $87 or 1 payment of $247. So if you're ready, okay, Avery's asking, that's next Tuesday, not this Tuesday. So if you're ready to get started, go ahead real quick, go to therefinedwoman.shop/ready, sign up and come back for our Q&A, all right? All right, now this is the fun part. I want to tell you about all the bonuses that I created for this program. Bonus number 1, I am super passionate about because it's one of the number 1 questions I get from women all over the world. Like, how far is too far? How do I establish sustainable physical boundaries in my dating relationship? Like, what about sleepovers? What about oral sex? Like, what about hands-on boobs? Like, should we keep our clothes on? Like, what do we do? How do you navigate boundaries without falling into legalism? But also, how do you set yourself up for success as a Christian woman in your dating relationship? Like, who here would that be of value to? It would be a super value to me. Jen says, yep. Audrey says, yes, please. Lacey says, yep. All right, awesome. All right, the next bonus that I have in the program outside the Activate Your Dating Life program and the how to establish your physical boundaries is how to discern if he's ready. Okay, this one is for you if you continuously get stuck in the friend zone. Raise your hand if you get stuck in the friend zone. This one's for you. Listen, if he just wants to be your friend, he's emotionally unavailable to you. Or if you feel like you attract guys who are just looking for casual, this one is for you. Or maybe you like a guy and you've been DMing him or texting, but are unsure if it's actually going to pick up steam or if you should do anything about it. This one is for you. If you need help discerning if you are ready and available and emotionally available for a relationship, this bonus is for you. All right. The final bonus, and I saved this one for last because it has the most value. A lot of you guys are in my TRW Single Ladies private members only group, but for Activate Your Dating Life program, I have a separate private members only Facebook group that is just for the members of Activate Your Dating Life program. And within this private Facebook group, I do 6 45-minute live Q&A sessions for 6 weeks, answering your questions in real time in community and supporting you in activating this material. All right, so as you can see with all of these things, with the Activate Your Dating Life program, oops, that's a little typo, with the how to establish physical boundaries bonus, with the how to tell if he's emotionally available bonus, with the private members only Facebook group, with live Q&A coaching support and activating the material. The total value of the course is almost $1,000, which is crazy, but as I said before, I'm not charging you that. So if you're ready to enroll, all you need to do is go to therefinedwoman.shop/ready, choose which option works best for you, and you're good to go. Now, if you're on the fence, I want you to know that I believe in this program so much and the results that it can create for you with you partnering with God that I do offer a money back guarantee. So here's what I need you to do. If you do buy this program and you work it for 30 days and you are committed to the process, I'm not looking for tire kickers here, but true go-getters, women truly committed to the process. You go through this and you don't see results, then show me your work. And if you're not satisfied within 30 days, I'll give you a full refund, no questions asked. All right. So remember when I told you to stay with me to the end? Remember when I told you about my dirty little secret, my masturbation conversation resource guide that I created, the thing that no one wants to bring up, but everyone is dying to talk about? Y'all, these bonuses alone are worth this entire course, I'm telling you. So if you purchase the Activate Your Dating Life program while we are live before I finish my Q&A that is just about to start here in a minute, then I'm going to give you this resource guide for free. Like, I'm just including it. So you're going to learn, is masturbation a sin? What does the Bible say? How do I deal with my sexual desire in this season of my life? So how many of you are excited to learn about masturbation? And how many of you have not heard the word masturbation out loud this many times in an hour? All right. So the way I see it, you have two options. Option number one, you don't make a plan to shift how you're showing up in your singleness and dating life, and this becomes another talk that inspired and challenged you, but that you forget about in a few days. And you're in the same place this time next year, stuck, frustrated, discouraged, in that insanity cycle. Or maybe option number two is you, and you say, you know what? It's time. It's time to shake things up. And I am ready to 100% commit to taking responsibility for myself and learning how to date well and how to put myself out there this year. Dare I say this month, with this proven roadmap. All right. So if you're ready, go ahead and go to therefinedwoman.shop/ready. Sign up. All the goods are going to be in your inbox in the next 15 minutes. All right. But here's what we're going to do. We're going to start jumping into the Q&A. So go ahead and start typing your questions. Oh my gosh, Jen already signed up. That makes me so happy. Go ahead and start typing your questions in the chat box. And I'm going to just run through this last part, and then we're going to get into Q&A. Okay. Now, some of you might be having some objections. You might be thinking, there just isn't enough time for this. I don't have time. Remember, we create time in our lives for the things that matter to us. How we spend our time and money reflects our priorities. So even if you have 10 minutes a week and are committed to this program, you can take as much time as you need because you have lifetime access to this program. So whether you have 10 minutes a month or an hour a day, this is good for you to invest into. Or maybe you're thinking, oh my gosh, I'm seeing a lot of you in there help me, I'm poor, cat money doesn't grow on trees, I'm in college right now. Let me tell you, you can't afford not to invest into this. One of the biggest breakthroughs you will have is showing yourself that you are worth the investment. If you're in college, who in your life believes in your wholeness and would want to support you in this? You will never regret investing into your wholeness. And let me tell you, or let me ask you, how many of us, especially as women, are willing to do anything and everything for those around us except ourselves? What if you started holding yourself just as high as you held the other women in your life? Sometimes the biggest step of breakthrough is saying, I am worth it. All right, your breakthrough starts now. Now the last one. How many of you are still hung up on, okay, even if I learned how to date, it doesn't take away the fact that there are no single guys in my community? Listen, I get it. I live in New York City. Literally, there are 2 women to every 1 man, and that does not take into consideration, does he love Jesus? Is he emotionally available? Does he want to have kids? Is he ready to settle down? So I would say in a city like New York, it's probably more like a 10 to 1. So I get it. I get it, but let me tell you this. There are good men out there. You don't need 50 of them. You just need one. Do you believe God is able to do abundantly more than you could ask or hope for? Do you believe that God is bigger than a statistic? If this is you, I'm so excited because when God opens up the heavens for you, only He can get the credit for it. Oh my gosh, who is ready for the blessing? Woo! Okay, ready for the Q&A. Again, last time, here's how you sign up. Go to therefinedwoman.shop/ready, and within the next 10 minutes, you'll have your login and you'll be a part of the group, and it's going to be so much fun. Okay, so for the next 15, I'm going to put a timer on for 15 minutes. So if you sign up in the next 15 minutes, you'll get the fast action guide, my dirty little secret. And here we go. If the timer runs out, we're just going to see where we're at. Okay, so questions. Susie, okay. Okay, it's going really fast. Serena says, I feel convicted with dating apps. What is a good way to approach this? Any suggested safe dating apps? All right, here's the deal with dating apps, okay? Like, a thing in itself, in and of itself, isn't evil. Like, the internet isn't evil, right? Like, how amazing that we're using the internet right now to connect with women all over the world and have a biblical teaching and encouraging hour of getting single women of faith together. Can we also use the internet for bad? Like, do people do porn? Do people do people steal other people's money on the internet? Yeah. But does that mean the internet is bad, or is it just the way we approach the internet can be bad? So same with online dating. Is it possible that we show up to that space with honor and integrity and wisdom when we're approaching the people that we're connected with? Absolutely. Are there going to be guys on there that aren't there for the right reasons? Absolutely. Are there going to be women there that aren't there for the right reasons? Absolutely. But listen, it only takes one. One of my really good friends, Bianca Olthoff, she's a speaker and pastor that travels all over the world. She met her husband online, and they literally lived in the same town and went to the same church, but like never would have met each other if it wouldn't have been for online. So I am all for it. Like, I don't want to limit what God can do. I could meet my husband on the subway. I could meet him at the airport. I can meet him in a cafe, or I can meet him online. Some of my favorite apps are Bumble, Hinge, and Coffee Meets Bagel. Those are really good ones. Okay. So for a girl who has a very strong desire for a relationship, what advice would you give for a girl experiencing anxiety on the daily? So if you experience anxiety, first of all, I just want to validate that experience. I've struggled with anxiety intensely over my life, and it's a struggle that I still move through and have tools to move through, but it still can be a struggle at times. So the first thing, so did you see how what we did through this entire, oh my gosh, I just killed a bug on my screen and now there's like bug guts all over my computer. That's disgusting. Did you see how all throughout the workshop I would state a fear and then a mindset shift? So what we have to do when we're dealing with fear, and another word for fear is anxiety, another word for anxiety is stress, is we have to identify what the fear is. So what's the fear? That I will be rejected, that I will be hurt, that I will be all alone. So identifying what those fears are and getting curious about where did those fears come from? When did they start? And then this is where what scripture says, we take every thought captive and we think on what is beautiful, true, right, pure, holy. We take the lie and say, listen, lie, like, you don't get to run the show anymore, and we replace it with truth. So like, we don't just like empty ourselves of fear, like scripture says to be filled with the Holy Spirit. So then we replace it with truth. So the fear might be, man, I like really don't want to be alone. I'm really scared of being alone. I'm tired of being alone. I feel like I'm gonna be alone my whole life. I feel like I'm never gonna meet anyone. All right, so that's the fear. That's the anxiety inducing thing. Here's what's really true. God, scripture says, Emmanuel, God is with me. So I'm actually never alone. And also, God has put people in our lives. So whether it's family, friendships that are like family. And if you don't have those relationships, get plugged in a church, get into a small group, volunteer at places, be a friend to have a friend. So take truth and replace it with fear, because like we have the opportunity to overcome by renewing our mind with the help of the Holy Spirit, but it is work on our behalf. So I don't know if was that helpful for you answering your question? Okay, awesome, Avery. Okay, there's so many questions. I'm trying to go up top here. Okay, so Courtney Maddox, what's up, girl? Says, when is it the proper time to ask a guy if the guy loves Jesus, or is okay? When is it the proper time to ask if the guy loves Jesus / if he's cool to wait until marriage to have sex? So I'm going to answer the second question first. By date number 3, I have told the guy that I'm on dates with that I'm not having sex until marriage, because I don't assume that Christian guys are waiting, even because I've been on so many dates with Christian guys that aren't waiting. So I just make it like super simple. It'll be like when we're out doing something, I'll just be like, this is exactly what I'll do. I say, hey, I just want to let you know, like, I'm not having sex until marriage, and that's not just like a cute thing that I say, but that's actually like a really big value of mine. I just wanted to be upfront about that, because I know as that's a deal breaker for me, it can be a deal breaker on the other side of things. So I just wanted to put that out there and see where you're at. And so then you're not like casting shame on him, but you're just saying, hey, here's where I'm at. I'm giving you an opportunity to share where you're at, and then go from there. So I always say it by date number 3, and probably by, date number 3 too, like you're getting to know, like, what's this guy's relationship like with God? Is this a value to him? So Courtney, like, how do you know if the guy loves Jesus? Like, it comes up in conversation, right? So like some questions that I ask, like, especially if it's online, is I'm like, oh, like, any fun plans this weekend? Or, what do you like to do on Sundays? Like, what do you like to do on Sundays is a really good one. Because I don't want a guy that's just a Christian. I want a guy who is like pursuing after Jesus and the heart of God. And so that man is most likely going to be involved in his church community. So right there, we kind of get to see like if that's a value to him or not. So I think there's questions like that you can ask. And then if you're on a date, you can also ask that, oh, like, what are you doing Sundays? And then he'll be like, what did you do on Sunday? Oh, well, I like went to church. Or Tuesday night, oh, I have my small group on Tuesday. So then it's kind of like you're throwing out breadcrumbs, and he either gets the opportunity to meet you in that, or be like, that's when you kind of like use that discernment to see where he's at. Does that bring you clarity? Does that bring you clarity, Courtney? Awesome. Okay. Connor says, how do you let a guy know that you are not very experienced with dating or the physical aspect of dating? I mean, you don't even really have to let him know that. Like, that's not necessarily his business. But like, because what I hear underneath that is that maybe, Connor, do you feel embarrassed or ashamed that you don't have a lot of physical experience, that you haven't dated much? Because the right guy is not going to shame you for that. Like, there's nothing bad or shameful about not having experience. But if it is something that you do want to communicate, here's the thing, ladies, like we just get to lead with vulnerability and communicate our needs. Like, one of my guy friends, he's awesome. You should follow him on Instagram, Mike Adela. He's like, men want to please women, but like, we can't read your minds. So you have to give us the playbook. Like, give us the playbook, and then we'll do what you want, but you have to communicate with us. So for Connor and Hannah, if you're like, first of all, there's nothing to be ashamed of for not having dated a lot. There's nothing shameful at all. In fact, God's probably saved you from a lot of heartache. And number 2, it's totally fine that you don't have a lot of physical experience. Like, that's the thing about the enemy. It's like, wherever you are in the spectrum, like, the enemy gives you shame. Like, if you've never been kissed, you feel ashamed about it. If you've had a ton of sex, you feel shame about it. If you're like middle of the road and like you feel shame about it, like shame's agenda is to keep you small, hidden, and stuck. And that is not the agenda that God has for you. Like 2 Timothy 1:7 says, God did not give you a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. So like those shame conversations are not your destiny. Now, I'm digressing. So if you want to tell him that you do not have a lot of experience, just say that. Say, hey, like, I just want you to know, like, I haven't dated a ton and this is new for me. So I might need you to be like patient with me. It's literally all you have to say. It doesn't have to be, oh my gosh, we need to sit down, have this serious conversation. No, you can just, that's all it needs to be, is like 1 or 2 sentences. Okay. Jamie says, how do you know if you're ready to date again after being hurt a lot? So Jamie, there's not like a right or wrong answer here. I think it's going to be like one of those things, like sometimes you might just need to like rip the Band-Aid off. Like I would definitely say, like, if you are recently divorced, I would say give yourself at least 6 months to a year before getting back out there. If you just got out of a long-term relationship, similar, give yourself time, maybe 6 months or so to get back out there. But I think like some of it is like, you know, some people say you just got to date someone to get over the next person. I don't really necessarily know if that's true. But I do think sometimes maybe you're not going to be 100% ready, but you just need to like rip the Band-Aid off and put yourself out there. So I would just pray for discernment on that. Like there's not like a right or wrong answer there. I need to have a sip of my wine, okay? Because my voice is getting hoarse. Okay. Whew. Okay. Merritt Barber says, when do you bring up your past, especially if it's full of sexual brokenness or crazy family? I'm all about being an open book, and it's not hard for me, but I feel like sometimes being vulnerable too fast freaks guys out. Okay. I don't understand this whole, like, why do people think that like we have to tell other people our past? Like Jesus says that you're a new creation. Like I would say like even I feel like my dad, him and my stepmom did this when they got married. It was my dad's 3rd marriage, my stepmom's 2nd marriage. They both really, really loved Jesus. Clearly they had both been married before multiple times. So clearly they've had sex before. And they just were like, you know what? Like, we're not going to share our past with each other. Like, we don't really think that's going to be a win. And I think for whatever weird reason in Christian world or Christendom, we feel like if we want to get serious with a guy, we have to tell him our track record. And I would say like use wisdom and discernment on that. But like you're a new creation and your past doesn't define you. And so I think when we do that, sometimes we are allowing our past to keep following us around. Like you can be like, listen, you know, I've had a past before you, but haven't we all, you know? So I would say, so outside of like sexual brokenness, like first of all, like you don't have to relive that if you don't want to. And that's, I would say maybe with a person that you're getting engaged to, but even then, like you're a new creation. So what about like stuff with family? I mean, I have a lot of family drama, so I get that, but I would say like true intimacy takes time. Like you actually can't rush that process. And when we try to share too much too soon, we're not creating real intimacy. We're creating this like false sense of intimacy, and like real intimacy happens over a span of time. So I don't know if that answers your question at all, Merritt, but I just think don't rush it. Like you're not in a rush. Like you don't have to like tell everyone all your baggage like the first month you meet them. Like you just don't need to do that. Okay. Oh man, my voice is getting super it's getting super, what's it called? I can't think right now. It's getting like coffee. Okay, Michelle says, would you ever have a meetup for singles in NYC? Okay, who here? Oh my gosh, Cat Harris Retreat. Yes, that's going to happen in 2021. So next year. If you guys are interested in an NYC event, I'm putting my first one on in winter. So like probably February 2021. I'm putting my email there. So go ahead and email me with your interest in an NYC event, and I will get you there. I'm also going to start doing live podcast events. So it'll be like a cocktails and conversations, like on a Thursday night from like 7 to 9:30. We'll do that. And then I know this is like crazy, like maybe too soon to say this, but I will start doing live. Like if you live in New York, I'll be going through this content with people live. So if some of you are in New York, like all you girls that are in New York right now that just put this on here, like say, I live in New York, I live in New York, and put your emails on there. Get a group of women together and go through the Activate Your Dating Life program together. And email me and I will come and spend time with you when you guys are going through it, okay? Like get in this. So everyone in New York, put your email on there, okay? All right, y'all. The timer has just gone out, which means that if you are wanting, oh my gosh, there's officially 111 members in the course, y'all. That is so amazing. 11 is the number for transition, guys. So if you want to join the next 111 women in the Activate Your Dating Life program, and you want to get your hands on that masturbation piece, go ahead and sign up right now, therefinedwoman.shop/ready. I'm going to answer one more question, okay? So let me find one more. Is there anyone who has a question specifically about the course that you feel uncertain about, or maybe you're on the fence and you just are like, I don't know if this is going to be a fit for me. Like, I don't know if this is going to work. Okay, Kelly. Oh my gosh, Kelly, you're in is it Dr. Shannon Irvine? You're in another course right now, plus working and starting a business. I've also been dating someone for about 2 months. So Kelly, what's your question? Is your question like, is now the time, or is that too much on your plate? Okay, so I'm assuming you're wondering if now is the time since you have these other things working. Okay, so here's the deal. I only open the doors for this course 2 times a year. So Kelly, if you're at all interested and you are, oh my gosh, this would be such an incredible supplemental stuff with Dr. Shannon Irvine. Dr. Shannon was, she's actually one of my clients, and she was on my podcast. I love all the neurological work she's doing. But here's the deal. You can go through this stuff at your own pace. So purchase Activate Your Dating Life, finish Dr. Shannon's program, and commit to doing, like, what if you did 15 minutes a week? Like, do you have space for that? Like, what if you just did 15 minutes a week? Or what if you purchased it and decided, you know what, I'm going to hold off on going through the content until early December? Like, you can do that. How does that sound, Kelly? Okay, and then Sam asks, how much time does the course take? So it's a 4-module course with 4 lessons in each module. So I've designed it to where if you are like overachiever and are like, oh my gosh, like I want to get this done, then if you do 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week for a month, you'll finish the curriculum. But I've had some women spend 3 months on module 1. I've had some women get done with the course in a month or less. I've had some women spend 6 months on the course. So really, like, it's up to you and how you want to do it. I love how all you guys are connecting in here. I'd say grab a buddy and find a rhythm that works for you and do it together. Okay, Megan is asking, are the modules PDFs so you can go at your own pace or repeat steps as needed? So there's 4 modules. Within the modules, there are 4 lessons. In each lesson, there's like a slideshow teaching like this. They're typically around 20 to 30 minutes. And then there's PDF downloads for each lesson. And on some of the lessons, there's even like audio downloads for you to listen to. So yeah, you can absolutely like repeat them, go at your own pace, whatever works best for you. Sound good? Oh my gosh, it would just like make me the happiest human being in the whole world if all y'all started like meeting together and doing this content together. I just love it. Okay, so I'm about to sign off, y'all. We've been on here for almost an hour and a half, which oh my gosh, Eat Fit Dallas. I know Eat Fit Dallas. What's up, girl? All right, ladies. So get connected. I am going to be shutting this down. Jen says, don't leave us, Kat. Y'all, I need some water. So Alice says, will you answer any of our questions outside of this? Yeah. So if you have questions that I have not answered, go ahead, kat@therefinedwoman.com, email me, or even better, take a picture with your phone and put it on your IG stories, tag The Refined Woman, message me your question, and let's just chat. Like, I'm available to you, okay? Courtney, it means so much to me that you're here. We really need to hang out, girl. I adore each one of you. Love you. Sending blessings your way and prayers and all the things. Yeah, I just hope you guys have a great time. I don't want to hang up. And let's just end in prayer, okay? I just want to end in prayer. Jesus, you're good. And you're so much better than we could ever even imagine. And God, right now, just for every single woman here, myself included, Lord, we just want you more. Like, we love you, but we need your help to love you more. And God, we need you to give us renewed hope. We need you to give us a fresh vision. God, would you show us what your purpose is for each one of us in this season? And God, would you give us more of your presence? And God, right now, I'm going to boldly and specifically pray for the men in each of our lives, God, that you would awaken the men of God that you have for us, that you would strengthen their integrity, their character, that you would awaken them to have eyes to see us, God, that you would help us to be encouragers, women of honor, God, and convict us when we're not being women of honor, Lord. Holy Spirit, we just say, come and have your way. We love you so much. Bless our sleep tonight. Bless our days tomorrow. And yeah, God, it's in your name we pray. Amen. All right, ladies, blessings. See you later. How do I end this? I don't even know how to end it. All right. Bye, guys.